Okay, hey there, students. Hey, welcome to week one. So each week I'll record a short module overview video like this, and we'll just kind of highlight the work for the week, kind of discuss how long I think it'll take you to do some of the work, so you can kind of plan and adjust your week as you might need to get the work done in the class at a level that is, at a high level, C, B, or A level, right? Is always should be what we're going for. So let's dive in. Let's look at module one and what it is you have to do. There we go. Okay, so each week you're going to see, a new module with new assignment dates down here. And I kind of discussed this in the overview video, which I encourage you to watch if you've missed it. If you haven't already, it's like 13 minutes or something like that, but I think it's important to review. Um, and this week we kind of get set up for a lot of things because this class is really about doing a decent amount of research and reflection and writing about what we find um, toward a larger essay, a bigger research goal that we'll kind of take throughout the term. So this week you're going to see that there is just a standard introductory discussion, share some things about yourself. I'll pop in there. I'm curious to know a little bit more about who you are and what you do. And then we have some posts about a possible research question, okay? And then we have a post related to a research proposal and the things we'll have to start thinking about for that. So you'll notice that there's no due date here for the research proposal because that's not going to be due until the end of module two. But we introduce it in module one so you can start thinking about it. So this week is just all about introductions, thinking about research questions, okay, and working to build an initial post with a research question or questions that we're interested in, um, and then going through and reminding ourselves about how we avoid plagiarism and how we document sources correctly in either APA or MLA style. Now, you're going to get the choice for this. So anytime you read some instructions that are like, your instructor's selected style, just know that I'm giving you the option, APA or MLA. Choose whatever you were using in English 111 that you feel comfortable with and that you've had practice with, okay? And then ignore the other one. So you don't need to take both of these. Just pick one of them, okay? And then you just won't have a grade for the other one, so it won't affect your grade. All right. Now, what's important, okay, is that we have learning activities that we should always work to do first. If you just jump into the assignments, you're going to get confused. So take the time to do the learning activities first so you have a good foundation for what it is you need to do. And there are a couple of things in the learning activities this week that will take you to different pages. See, they'll look like this, okay, for different textbook pages, and then even some handouts like this crap test handout. And yes, it is crap test, and it's very funny and very silly. And I'll talk about that in just a minute. But we also have this paragraph structure piece, which I think is going to be really helpful as you think about how to build paragraphs later. We introduce it here, but it's going to be important throughout the whole term. So make sure you look at that. But what you'll see here is that you're going to have some information, again, related to various citation formats. And so you have some review options here. But we know that this week, the writing assignment that will take the most mental energy relates to developing your research question. So you have to come up with a research question, even multiple research questions to think about to help drive your future research. And here's some information on how you might develop that and what you might think. Now, what I'll add here, just from some additional lecture support, is that a good research question doesn't have a yes or no answer, okay? It has a more open-ended answer for, that requires you to investigate more fully. So, for example, if we imagine we had an interest in animals, a research question shouldn't be, should animals be abused? Yes or no? Okay. The large majority of people would say no, animals should not be abused, right? So that's not a good research question, but maybe a good research question might be something like, how should animal shelters be funded? Or what are the best animal shelter models to help avoid, you know, unnecessary animal deaths? Or how, like, what are the best ways to prevent animal abuse, right? Things like that. Those are more open-ended questions that allow us to drive into um, some research. Now, you might be thinking, okay, well, that's all fine and good, but I still don't really understand, I'm not sure exactly what I want to research. I'm not sure what I want to do. So I want to introduce you to a database in our library that I think is great for exploring. So within your My Ivy space, you have a library space, statewide library or library for your campus. You should have access to the same databases. But what I like to do is I look to the A to Z resources, right? And some of the featured databases might already have the ones that you know most. And the one that I like for trying to develop a topic, or if I'm not sure what I want to focus on, look at this opposing viewpoints database. So the opposing viewpoints database is really good to help us think about what we might be interested in that we might not even have known about beforehand. So usually there's something related to some type of um, current issues, current debates, and you can kind of click through here and maybe find some information about those. But then also, as you scroll down, you'll see these various issues, and you can kind of just start exploring what might interest you there. Okay, so that's a good one, right? Um, that's going to help you most with the research proposal later, and then developing your initial post for the research question this week. Now, in the discussion spaces, okay, so there's only one due date listed for you that'll pop up on your calendar. So in your calendar for the introduction, it'll say it's due on March 24th. And that is true, where you'll need to finish, your peer replies, things like that. But I'd like you to have your initial post in there by the middle of this week, if you can. So that way it's in there, shows me you're already in the class, that you're invested in the class, and I get to learn a little bit more about you a little earlier. The same thing for the research question. I really should clean up some of these pages because we have this and it just links you to the post that you need to go to. So I apologize for giving you some extra clicks. But here's the discussion board. And you can see here that I'd like your initial post due on this coming Sunday, and then your replies and everything else due on Monday, though the due date that will be in your calendar will just say the 24th. So try to get your initial post in on the 23rd. So that way, your peers have things to look at and reply to going into the end of the day on Monday. So you'll see here that the initial post guidelines will be spelled out for you, right? And then also the responses and how you should respond to your peers should be spelled out to you. And that is the goal of these online courses. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing now, right? The goal is to try to write out everything for you and be very specific about what it is you're being asked to do. But sometimes you're going to have questions. You're going to be unsure about what it is you really need to do. And so as you go through and you do the learning activities and you start to go through the work that we have set up for this week, you have questions, reach out to me. Monday through Friday, I'll get back to you within 24 hours to try to explain something a little bit more fully. On the weekend, I do sometimes check my email on the weekend, but if you email me late Friday night, I might not see it until Monday morning when I get back in the office. So just be mindful of trying to work ahead Monday through Thursday to go through stuff, to ask me questions. So that way I'm giving you feedback, responding to you by Friday before the weekend, whenever you might be have more time to do more work. So try to fit in your work Monday through Thursday as much as you can for our course. Now, this week, I would say that you've probably got about 60 to 90 minutes going through those learning activities, reading through the documents, Some are shorter, some are longer, but they're all important to help you think about questions that you might want to ask for research and what it is you might want to be thinking about as you go into the assignments. And then another hour to 2 hours writing your intro discussion post, diving through the databases maybe to find something that interests you, developing your research questions and responding there. So I think you should budget somewhere between 3 to 5 hours this week where you give your attention completely to our class and you work through those learning activities and the assignments as best you can. Okay, give yourself at least 3 to maybe 5 hours, depending on where you're at with your interest. Now, I do try to make these videos 10 minutes or less. So the goal, again, is just to kind of set you up, try to give you some pointers here or there, and remind you of what it is you need to do. Um, but I can't anticipate all the questions that you might have as I've built some of these assignments or written some things out and try to adjust them. So work as early as you can so you can email me questions and I get back to you as quickly as you can, because we don't meet on Monday and Wednesday and you can't, just wait to ask me a question on Wednesday when we'd have class. We're kind of always in class with an online class. So do the work when you can, email me when you have questions, and don't forget to post that initial introductory post by this Wednesday. Curious to hear more about you, and I'm curious to just kind of get to know you better. So I appreciate your time. Thank you for your work. Remember that writing is a skill that we improve through reading and writing, and that's it. That's the only way we get better at it. So have courage, work hard, ask questions when you have them, and good luck. Thanks, everybody.